Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 147. This podcast is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, the Iron Banner returns. We get a preview of the new exotic armor changes coming next week, and we discuss Crucible ranking and playlist improvements. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and of course, CyborgSasquatch.
Didn't I just talk to you
I think
the other
so.
day?
It was not. It was probably a couple, 3 days ago.
What's up, man?
What's up? We are recording the earliest we usually do ever.
Yep.
Aren't we?
Yep.
Thursday
Going
night.
into a long weekend in the States. What is it? Memorial Day? Is that right?
Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yes.
No disrespect, just making sure I got the right holiday.
You off Monday? Or you
I
work?
don't yet know. We will see. That's one
I'm
of those
off
things.
all weekend.
I call them like B-list holidays. Like the things that like bankers get off for.
Oh, yeah. What about bankers?
I don't always get off for.
Like Columbus Day?
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of pick and choose. Sometimes I work to just take the day another day, but anyways.
Getcha.
Yeah, so we're here.
We're
We're going to talk about Destiny.
We got stuff to talk about. It's early in the week, early in the reset, but there's still plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I got plenty of playtime in already. First, an announcement. If you missed it on Twitter this week, of course, we have been talking about our big blue giveaway for this month to celebrate Warmind, and we had a winner. Thank you to everyone. We had so many emails from you guys telling us about your favorite activities since Warmind have dropped, and we loved hearing what you guys are enjoying and the wide variety of stuff that people are getting into. But there had to be just one winner to win a piece of blue gear. And by RNGesus, it has been declared that the winner is Copacetic Devil.
Ooh.
Congratulations. You got your
Congrats,
choice.
Guardian.
Of course, you might have already seen this on Twitter, but we figured it was worth announcing on the show as well, just in case anybody missed it and was curious.
Yes.
So he gets his choice of a piece of blue gear, either a Yeti microphone or some Lola headphones, courtesy of our sponsor, Blue Microphones. Thank you for that. It'll get shipped directly to him anywhere he is in the world. I don't know where he lives. We'll find out.
How about blue, right?
Yeah, and of course, we're going to have another giveaway coming up in June, so stay tuned. You'll get another chance to win a piece of gear.
Yep.
Keep those rolling all year long, thanks to our sponsor. So,
yeah, and keep an eye out once again on Cyborg and I's Twitter feeds as well, and the podcast feed. We may have some other giveaways.
Oh, we have something
too.
special to give away.
Yes.
Watch for
a
that.
bundle of sorts.
A bundle.
We're gonna share some more of your emails this episode, and more in the future as well. We got a ton of emails, and it's like Cyborg said, it's awesome to hear what you guys have been excited about. So we will definitely continue to share your emails.
Yes, indeedy. So now, some news.
It's time for the news.
This week at Bungie, we lit the Iron Banner again. Iron Banner 6v6 returned, and I will say I've had a good time this week playing some Iron Banner with the buds.
Bannerfall.
Have you gotten to play it yet? I have not.
Once or twice. It did finally come up.
I saw somebody post there like, I have played 57 Iron Banner matches so far and have not yet played Iron Banner. I have played Bannerfall.
It's fun. It's of course a good map. I love that the classics are already coming back, and they're coming back in this way. And we're actually hoping that it's the Trials map this weekend.
Yeah, Bannerfall was my favorite, the Taken King map.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool
And
map.
I think it almost after all of those years, like year 2 and 3, I think Bannerfall was my favorite.
So you said you haven't played it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Is it just like a beat up version of Bannerfall?
Yeah, well, it's funny you asked. That's what I was gonna say. When we were playing it, we were like, "Wow, it's just like all tore up. This is awesome. The trees busted, all the walls are busted." And then I went back into the back center of the map, back behind B, and there's now like a room there instead of just the hallway coming into the opening.
Okay.
And there's like a little room in there now, and I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. So they decided to destroy the entire place and then build a small room back here.
Right.
Totally joking, but it is kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, that Red War, it really did a number on the towers.
Right.
So, well, so that came back around, and then we've got some right into some community issues they are tackling this week. First off, escalation protocol is on the docket for conversation. So they invited lead designer Jacob Benton to talk about escalation protocol in the ongoing conversation about that activity. If you've missed it, a lot of the conversation going on about that is, of course, partially involving its difficulty. Right now, the preferred method for people to tackle it is to try to set up 6 or 9 man groups of friends. Of course, more Guardians are going to make it a more palatable activity to tackle. And a lot of people have been basically demanding matchmaking for this activity.
Yeah.
So they want to talk about that. And so they have some bullet points here. First is, what were the design goals for escalation protocol? And they mention it was designed to be a high difficulty in-game activity for a max level 3-player fire team. Other players can contribute to make it easier, but shouldn't be required as long as your team is highly skilled and coordinated. They mentioned they've received a lot of feedback since the original launch of Destiny 2 that players felt like reaching max power was not satisfying, and there weren't enough activities that required that, and escalation protocol was designed to fill that gap, that need. And so the next bullet point is, so this activity was not specifically designed for 9 players. And they go on to say that all PvE activities besides raids are optimized for 3 players to allow for multiple types of activities in the space. So it wasn't designed for it, but they're not surprised that with 9 players, especially with how underleveled most people are, that's how people are doing it. They weren't surprised that people use creative workarounds, just like in the Court of Oryx, to work around that, but they didn't tune it around 9 people. So finally, they ask, are there any plans to enable larger fire teams in the future? And they mentioned they're going to monitor as more players progress up to max power and attempt to tackle escalation protocol at the difficulty it was designed for, and they'll determine what, if any, actions necessary. They say, we also hear players are really enjoying large groups of players fighting against enemies, so we'll use that feedback to inform our future plans. So that kind of puts that in perspective. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they have said since the beginning, multiple times, that their intent was for it to be completable by a max level 3-man fire team.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking a little before the show too. I mean, they're listening to feedback and they're taking it in, and I mean, they realize, as well as the players do, I'm sure, like you said, we're all under-leveled right now. Now, It would be awesome to have an activity that we could have 6 to 9 Guardians out in a public space like that, and it still be difficult when we're all max power level. But
might be
for
quite
this
insane.
One, right? But for this one, they have said all along their goal with this is for 385 Guardians to still, that is the idea for this activity, and that it still will be difficult for 3 max power level Guardians. And that, I think, ultimately, when we get through this little transitional period here where people are under leveled, when we get to that point, I think we're going to be content, because while it would be cool to have 6 Guardians in there doing stuff, which you could still do, technically it would be easier, but it'll be fun when it's a challenging 3-player activity out in a public space.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to get 3 people together to do this activity than 6 and 9 for whatever reason, because it's not like a raid or trials or whatever, right? So that makes sense. It's a more, I guess, palatable, or it's a more micro like level activity that if you can get 2 buddies, you can go tackle it. Right. I mean, that's one of the main reasons like that I haven't done it as much, is because it's not as easy to get 6 people or 9 people together, be like, all right, let's go try this. Let's go try to cheese into the space and like do this, even though we're all under leveled, because like for a lot of the week when we're on, like people are chasing their milestones, they're going to do raids, or now they're doing our banner this week, because like everybody's on that light grind and that gear grind. And so this is kind of lower on the totem pole because it's so difficult. And I think it's the unfortunate part of it is that I think I think it's fun. I think it has a lot of potential for an in-game activity, but it's really hard for it to be there at launch and people not be able to play it.
Yeah.
And I think that it would have worked a lot better if there was some sort of scaling difficulty, whereas you got to the later waves, the delta scaling changed, so maybe, the first couple weeks, like maybe the level 1 is like 350 light, and it goes up a bit as you go to where, maybe in the first couple weeks you couldn't get past 5 or 6, but you could get there and maybe get a small reward, and you can kind of learn those parts of the activities so that by the time you get up to max level light, then you can tackle the harder parts and finally defeat it. Now, how hard that is to like implement in the world, I don't know, but I think that may have been a more accommodating way to do a mode like this,
Well, what's the part that makes it a challenge is that it's out in the open public space. Like the raid is an in-game activity and you have to actually queue up and go to the raid.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just out in the world. It's there for everyone to see. You stumble across it when other people activate it. And it feels like, I feel like I should be able to do this right off the bat, and I can't.
And the enemies are really spongy. If you're under leveled, like that's the real challenge, is if you can get to the bosses a lot of the time, but like the first time we tried it, like I think it was like the second or third day after the release, like we couldn't knock a third of the health off the ogre.
Oh, no.
It was like, holy cow, these things, this is the first level,
Yeah.
So, So, that's their response to it. And I do see how, we need to get like the general community up to a higher power level to see how it really plays. And I'm excited to try to get there, but I'm also kind of impatient because I'm like, okay, 2 weeks have gone by. I haven't gotten any drops from this activity. I wanted to get all the weapons, and I'm like, oh man, like in 6 weeks, am I still going to be able to get people together to do this with me? Because sometimes that stuff falls off. But maybe it'll be a thing that does get people to come in and come back. So
yeah, it's a good classic Destiny catch-22. It's like, we want difficult activities, but at the same time, we want to always be able to do most of the activities. And
want it.
This
I want
one
it now.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of other stuff to do, so it's not like there's. I mean, maybe for some players that play this game more than I do, but it's not like I don't have other stuff to play. I mean, I'm running out of time at the end of the week to do everything I want to do. So that's a good spot. Like for me, like every night if I log on, there's something that I know I could go do to fulfill some different aspect of the game. That's what we've wanted for
months now, man.
Yeah. I mean, like there's been so long that we haven't really had that aspect of the game. So I find that, satisfying. So it'll be there. It'll be there when I'm ready. You know.
Exactly, man.
All right. You want to talk about these armor updates, man?
Yeah. Talk about some armor updates. We'll cover our own classes, and we'll just skip the hunter stuff. No, just kidding.
Hunters suck.
So we're totally joking, hunters.
I'm
actually thinking about leveling a hunter because I missed that snappiness. But
I've got one.
I'm going to do it with all this.
I got to get them through the story. I got to get them through the Warmind story this week.
I know. We should just be able to skip it. Classic feedback. So anyways, we're finally getting, because it's coming up on the roadmap here, we're getting some previews of the exotic armor tuning that they've been teasing for a little while. We get to hear from Sandbox designer Victor Anderson. We're actually getting this stuff on May 29th. So is that when they're listening to this?
That's correct.
We're recording so early. It is. You're getting your hands on it right now. So why don't we just jump right into the exotics?
So they mentioned they're doing 6 pieces of armor, 2 for each class, with more to come in July.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is the first wave of tweaks. So on the Titan, Syntheseps, my go-to crucible gauntlets, arms. Mechanical changes. Previously, the perk adjusted your melee damage depending on the number of enemies surrounding you. Now it grants a flat bonus to melee and super damage when you are surrounded by 3 or more enemies. The buff is retained for a short duration after you are no longer surrounded. That's an interesting
That super
tweak.
damage increase could be pretty alluring because there's definitely times, frustratingly so, when you're using your super to try to knock an enemy out and you don't kill them in one shot.
Oh, dude, like the initial Titan slam, we were just talking about that this week. It's like, what is going on? Yeah. I'm not killing enemies with my initial slam, like, unless I'm literally touching toes.
I usually find myself in the Crucible, if I'm running Striker, I usually find myself doing the charge instead of slams.
Slamming.
Unless I'm in the middle of a group.
Unless you see multiple.
Because it's more effective to like charge them and knock them off balance than to slam in front of them and allow them to stand there and shoot at you, you know? But if this super damage bonus is significant enough, that's really makes that a good
yeah, and these I like these. I use these all the time. Right now, it's my go-to PvP exotic just because I like the extra lunge.
Well, anything that gives you non-T-Rex arms, right?
Right, exactly. And you get used to it. When I don't have it on, I completely... And I normally don't like having a loadout like that. Like, I never liked in Destiny 1 having the increased grenade throw distance because I don't want to get used to that and then not have a piece of, like, I want the default grenade throw distance, you know? So these, I mean, there's an exception with these, that they're just, it's nice, again, like you said, not to have T-Rex arms. But they go on to say, he goes on to say, with this change, they basically hope that you feel the impact more often in all scenarios, and in particular PvE. So it's interesting because they're a Crucible favorite right now, not a PvE favorite. So that super damage again could make a decent difference. So next up is Lion Rampant. Mechanical changes. You can hit, this is interesting. Like, this is very interesting to me. You can hip fire while lift is active without interrupting it, and your aerial hip fire doesn't have an aerial accuracy penalty.
This actually makes these worthwhile. The only thing you could do with these was this interesting in-air forward boost, and that I played with for like one day when I got them, and then never put them back on. But somebody
these
mentioned,
might be my go-to, man. Like, the reason I want to level a hunter right now is because I love Titan. I've always enjoyed Titan, all aspects of the Titan. What I miss about the hunter is the snappy vertical movement that is like such a natural part of the hunter. And this is interesting to me because I do a lot of aerial attack engagements.
Yeah, I like to do the same.
Yes, and that's something I'm always working on too, is like if I break line of sight, I'll jump back up over the top of where I just came around, to get the aerial attack. They're looking at eye level. So I'm always working on that stuff. So to hear this tweak, I'm like,
yeah,
this might be a new fave.
It kind of plays into how they were able to kind of further define what the classes meant in maneuverability in Destiny 2, and that, so a hunter is like about acrobatics, right? And a Titan, I feel, is about momentum. Like it's about getting a big lumbering oaf, some momentum, and then he hits hard, right?
Right.
And then a Warlock is just kind of about being a floof. So, which is a neutral game. Like that's what a Warlock is. It's a neutral game.
Yeah. Well, and that's great too, because it's, these changes hopefully we talked about it last week, I think, help people hone in on their specific play styles, But
this seems really cool, man. You pair this with Huckleberry or something, and it could be really nasty. Like I could just imagine just like charging in and just hip firing a good SMG and no aerial accuracy penalty.
Yeah, that's insane. That's Graviton and submachine gun. Let's go.
Right. Let's talk hunters.
Let's do
the
it.
Dragon's Shadow. Mechanical changes, dodging reloads all weapons simultaneously. The effects of Wraith Metal Mail now also include a bonus to mobility. So this dot, I think previously it just reloaded your equipped weapon. So reloading all your weapons, like I could see how that could be really, really effective in a PvE situation, but then also in PvP, like as a clutch, like, oh crap, my primary ran out, my SMG2, like I'm in the middle of a fight and you just dodge, reload, just start loading up again. So they mentioned they wanted to make it more useful in a general sense under even neutral conditions while keeping in the theme of a fast-moving ninja. So that's pretty cool. Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves. Mechanical changes, swapping to a sidearm while critically wounded greatly increases its damage. They mentioned we went for the fantasy of a holdout weapon, the pistol tucked into your sleeve that you pull out in an emergency to save you. These changes should let you turn around a fight more easily. And I think one of the main perks also is that you have a really fast handling rate on sidearms, if I believe. I think you get to pull it out super fast. I want to double check that perk, but
I love how specific these things are. Like it's just, I feel like you could just sit and look at your loadout and study it before you go into the Crucible with stuff this specific and like hone in on exactly how you want to play in your play style and try to master that. Like this is like, you have to keep this like right on the top of your mind that you can do this particular thing, like I'm wounded, I gotta get my sidearm immediately, intertwine it into your play style. It's interesting. Yeah,
I just checked. The intrinsic perk is called Spring Loaded Mounting, increases sidearm ready and reload speed. So this is, you can basically whip that thing out in a flash and then it does extra damage. So I just want you to think about pairing that with Rat Pack. I'm going to need to see some testing.
Yes. Crucible scientists.
Calling Fallout plays. Can I talk about Warlocks?
Please do.
This next change has been very much requested by many Warlocks to Lunafaction Boots. Mechanical changes. Rift reload is automatic instead of being activated on entry/exit. Also, empowering Rift makes weapons more effective at extended ranges. So when I first got these, because I think this came out with Osiris expansion, I was like, hey, that's cool because I can use these kind of like the Titan Barricade in raids to help us do more DPS. The problem is that unlike the Titan Barricade, where you can kind of like you snap to it and bounce up and down, and so it's easy to tell, the rift is underneath you, and it's hard to know exactly where to go back and forth. And sometimes that's also not smart to do, like because you're strafing side to side in front of people or next to people, right? So if you're like trying to unload a rocket and you're strafing and you strafe in front of somebody and die, like, so, you know, we've talked a lot about this and we were like, it just would be great if it would just reload while you're standing in it. And that is the change. And that's going to make these really viable. And with that extra bonus for making an empowering rift instead of a healing rift, this is going to be like a go-to in DPS situations, guaranteed.
Yeah.
It may even make it more attractive than the Titan Barricade just because you can just stand in it and it reloads your stuff. So these will be pretty cool. I'm excited to try them out next week. They mention, players having to dip in and out to reload their weapons was not consistent with other rift effects, particularly with the overshield effect on healing rift. It's been made automatic to be easier to understand and use. This is a more offensive choice in terms of Rift exotics, so we wanted to further reward players who want to double down with empowering Rift instead of playing it safe with healing Rift. So these are cool. I like that. That makes it an exotic that I would want to choose to run as opposed to just being like, I could live without it, right?
Yeah.
Next up, Sunbracers, which I have not used once in Destiny 2. They replace the original effect with increases the duration of solar grenades. Solar melee kills grant unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time. That sounds attractive, especially in PvE. They mentioned while they were effective in some circumstances, like flat damage output with solar grenades, they didn't feel flashy enough for gloves where your hands are perpetually on fire. So while retaining the original flavor of the solar grenade exotic armor, we've scaled up the potential output significantly to give the player a strong taste of power on a more frequent basis. I think any mechanic or exotic where they tie in that loop of melee grenade always feels really fun and satisfying. You know, like there's other exotics and like builds and stuff throughout Destiny 1 and 2 where you would kind of have this continual, melee, then you build your grenade, then like even with void warlocks and stuff like that. It's a really fun build in PvE, so I think I'll try this out. Try it out.
This is I'm excited.
So some welcome changes. Of course, I wish there was more, but we'll get some more soon. And these will be some fun things to play with in the meantime. Don't you think?
I completely agree. I want no drop off or damage reduction while in the air.
Fair.
Bring it, please.
Next week, Air returns as a soaring, monstrous titan.
You got it.
All right. Coming up, we've got a new Bungie versus Vicarious Visions versus Bungie, May 30th at 11 a.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Bungie and twitch.tv/Vicarious Visions. We've got 4 Vicarious Visions developers versus 4 Bungie devs. Best of 5 match. Bungie will pick 2 games and VV will pick 2. The final game will be Mayhem on Bannerfall. That'll be fun. So go check that out if you want to watch these guys duke it out. And
should be fun.
Should be fun, and maybe we'll catch some fun commentary while we're at it. Never know.
Answer some questions on the side.
Yup. Next up, Destiny player support. They mention update 1.2.1 is going to release Tuesday, May 29th, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific until 1 p.m. Pacific when it is scheduled to conclude. They have a few issues that they're going to be resolving, which are great as a part of the patch note previews. So fix an issue where players would lose glory rank points for leaving a match too soon after the match ends. Fix an issue where the clan XP milestone was not granting a powerful reward. By the way, that's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
Fix an issue where Vanguard boons would block progression of strike-specific quest steps and milestones. That had to do with that heroic strike bug. Fix an issue where Shriekers would close too quickly during Warsat public events, thus blocking players' ability to trigger a heroic public event. We've been talking a lot about everybody who's doing the Warsat, like how it would cut you off at 80% when you're trying to finish it. I think this is related to that. I had a feeling it was bugged. It just didn't make sense. Glad I'm vindicated. Big one here. Fix an issue where Callus's shields required too much damage to break. After Destiny Update 1.2.0, you might have heard me screaming about that last week. Finally, fix an issue where players would experience long load times for Iron Banner matches on PC. Full patch notes after reset. One thing we forgot to mention. So there was a bug they found in the API this week that caused them to have to disable item equip within third party and first party. I guess like the Destiny companion app and apps like Ishtar Commander and Dim. Essentially, as it was explained to me, people were able to kind of game the system to make it appear like you were higher light than you were through some inventory manipulation and reach max light within like a few drops. And so they had to disable that to prevent that from being an issue. They're still working on it. A fix is not going to be in time for this coming reset. So you're going to have to equip or unequip items within the game. This really only became an issue when I was trying to pull an equipped weapon off another character.
Yeah. A lot of people were confused because they thought you couldn't use it at all. I even thought that at first, but yeah, you can, as long as you're not putting it, you're actually equipped. It's on your character. You can just drop it on your character in a different slot.
You can move stuff. You just can't equip or unequip. So
right.
At least the main functionality works. Yeah. Moving stuff around. It's just like, I had to go swap and unequip a weapon so I could go put it on the other character. Kind of reminded me of D1.
Yep.
Gotta go get this thing, fly to the tower, put it in the vault, then change characters, fly to the tower, pull it out of the vault.
The old days.
Whoo boy. Added a lot of time to our gaming.
Hours and hours.
Yeah.
And hours.
And hours. Next up, we had some movies of the week. One which is crazy. 1 bullet, 4 kills.
Unbelievable.
Goodness gracious.
I thought my No Land Collaterals with just 2 Guardians.
You think
awesome.
those collaterals,
crazy.
You got really lucky, but yeah, this is on a different order. Go check it out.
Unreal.
Sniper rifle kill.
1 bullet, 4 headshots.
Yep. They just lined them up for him, man. I don't know what to say. They all just drop, and then you see a bunch of crests just fall to the floor.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Then there was, of course, Giggs was able to kill the Spire of Stars boss with no guns. So that's a thing that happened. Finally, in the TWAB, they mention Twitchmaster Scott is letting everybody know they set up a Discord server attached to the Bungie Twitch account. And the purpose of that is to ensure that Bungie Twitch subscribers can use the Twitch emotes in Discord. So they have, I think, a link on how to do that, although I don't see a Discord server link in here. So I don't know how to join that. Maybe it's on the Twitch page. I couldn't tell you. So check that out if you're a Bungie Twitch subscriber. And that's
There you have it.
the TWAB this week.
Yes, it's not all the news, but it's the TWAB.
I guess one other thing worth mentioning is there was a new exotic emote in the Eververse this
there
week.
Was. Iron Banner specific.
Yeah, I think it's called like the Iron
emote.
Salute or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a cool little thingy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you whip out an Iron Lord's axe and
shield.
A shield, and it looks real cool. But as far as we know as of this recording, it's only available if you purchase a box, and I think it's 1,100 silver, and it gives you the emote in maybe it was a couple shaders or a couple boons.
I think it's boons that are in there. Yeah. As of right now, yeah, I want to say I saw a post by Cosmo or DMG responding to someone saying you cannot earn it in the game. It's only through Eververse. I'm almost certain. But of course, as many of you may know, there was some controversy this week about that because a lot of people felt you should, specifically since it's an Iron Banner exotic emote, you should be able to earn it in some way, shape, or form also through playing Iron Banner. I guess that's the controversy is, you even specifically, we've asked for the ability to directly purchase things that we want. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this does fit that bill. Now, $11 for an emote, pretty expensive, first of all. Mm-hmm. But I think the reason that it's drawing ire from the players is because I think that people are really fatigued with the Eververse and how it's gone over the past year. And people want more than ever for there to be things beyond just armor and weapons that you can just earn through the game, or you can even get from a drop. And
mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it being for sale. I mean, if I really wanted it, I'd be happy because I could just buy it.
Right.
But I can also see how people might just be fatigued with microtransactions in Destiny and the way they're implemented. And so it's a thing.
I think the kicker with this one is that it is an Iron Banner specific emote. Many people immediately started saying, make it a reward for reaching rank 50,
right?
With Saladin and Iron Banner, and I completely understand people's frustrations with it. We so many Destiny. It's such a great place and on such a great track right now, and Bungie and with Warmind and 1.2, and it's like all I ask, and the way I try to look at things is there's so many things going right now, and we can tell how much work Bungie's put into listening to us and trying to right the ship and pave the road a new direction. And it's just like, man, one emote comes up and it's like,
world's on fire again.
Let's not forget everything that's like going, like, that's so fun right now, and I get it. Like, to me, I completely agree. I understand the frustrations. I really would like it to be attainable through playing Iron Banner. I love that you can direct purchase it, but it's like, it's almost like Bungie. Okay, we know you have a lot of things to think about and a lot of different layers. This game is a beast. It's a machine. There's so many different things you have to think about, but maybe throw a like final pass through team on Eververse stuff. Like, let one team decide what you're gonna offer and this or that, and maybe they do. I don't know. I'm just totally goofing off right now. But then put a final wall of a team that just kind of it filters through before it goes out live into the game. Because I get the frustrations, but I do ask the Guardians out there, like, guys, we're having a lot of fun right now, and it's like let's not let's just not be. While a lot of the feedback I saw this week was constructive. I mean, I didn't venture off into crazy comments all over the place, but like a lot of the feedback I saw was very constructive. Like, hey, like it would be nice if we could earn this an Iron Banner. So it wasn't super salty, and I completely get the viewpoint. And it's like, let's just be cool. It's it's an emote.
Yeah, but you're right. It's like, come on, Bungie, can you not? Things were going really well.
And I remember when it first started coming into fruition, it was like, I was like, oh, cool, dude, there's an Iron Banner exotic emote. I'm like, man, they are just everything they're doing is so thought out. And it's like, that's cool. I wouldn't even have thought to have an Iron Banner exotic emote. And then it was like, oh, wait, I see this post and I see that. And I'm like, oh, wait, really? No, wait, okay. Yeah. Okay, it looks like it's true. So it's like, I understand, but this is an example though. I think I really thought we would have saw something in the TWAB about this. I know they don't want to make it a bigger deal than it is, but at the same time, it is something the community is talking about, and they've done so well the past many months with just addressing it. Boom, let's talk about it. And I feel like just very quickly, and again, we've talked about this many times, who knows how many interested parties there are all the way down to an exotic emote in the Eververse, because that's ultimately income for the game, So I feel confident that if Bungie could, and I'm sure they want to, I would have liked to have seen them address it in the TWAB. Maybe they will address it at some point, and just make the tweak. Like, okay, we hear you guys. Boom, move it. They've done it. They've been doing it so many times over the last several months, and it's. I really would have thought we would have heard about it.
I don't think they're going to change it, because if they do, then that's not fair to people that threw down the money for it.
True. That's very true. Now, then what the follow-up would be from that is address it and say, okay, we've heard your feedback. We realize, okay, if we have another Iron Banner exotic emote or a Faction Rally exotic emote in the Eververse, it also needs to be attainable. Now, I'm sitting here saying this out loud. I can hear what players will respond to that with. How do you not already know this? This is what we've been telling you since Eververse was implemented in Destiny 2.
I think that's the whole issue, is that the implementation just seems very tone deaf.
Right. And it seems like, what is the disconnect there? Is there a different team working on Eververse?
They have a team of people that it's their job
just Eververse
that do Eververse content,
but that's the thing.
Do Eververse, like the implement, like not just creating the content, but like they manage the store and the economy and like everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's like, my final thought on it is, when you see this, you immediately, as a player, think about the faces that are related to Bungie. You think of Deej, you think of Cosmo, DMG, Josh Hamrick, and it's like, guys, they probably didn't even know much about this, So it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't be so quick to be so aggravated. I understand frustrations and I totally get it, and feedback's very important. We provided them feedback on this, but let's not be so quick to forget how much is going right and what direction we're on. You know what I mean? All for an emote. I understand there's a bigger picture here. I totally get it. There's a bigger picture here and a pattern. But again, I'm having a good time, man. Like, I thought about it. I analyzed it. I collected my thoughts and gathered my opinion on this. And I understand it. I understand frustrations. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm logging in. Let's go blast some aliens.
Well, yeah, it's not the end of the world. But my hope, and because we kind of pulled that thread, is like there were some faction rally emotes that were data mined.
Yeah.
And if they are implemented in this way, it's not going to go well.
That's why I think you're right. They can't, and in hindsight on what I said, they can't change this one right now because people have already paid for it, and that wouldn't really work if they all of a sudden you can attain it by hitting a certain level. So what the pattern of what they've been doing is, I think it would be cool to see just a tweet, a statement that says, "We've heard your feedback on the Iron Banner exotic emote. As you have seen, there may be more exotic emotes in the future, and we have taken your feedback and we will implement this differently going forward."
Yeah, and they may say something. I'm my expectations is they're not going to say anything.
This seems like something. I'm confident. I still hope they will, but I
because the fact is, overall, I mean, in the past year, if you really look at it, they've said very, very little about Eververse as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that they have said is when there were absolute concrete changes to anything that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that they did communicate were like tangential to the actual store. It had to do with like experience stuff.
And there's got to be a reason for that, right? It's almost like there's not much room for play that they have with Eververse.
Don't poke the rabid dog. They don't.
But I feel like there's even something going on in the, we've talked about this, interested parties. Like, it seems like there's not a lot of room for play.
I think Eververse is totally up to Bungie as a studio. But I think that the line is that it's something that they're going to do, and they decided on this implementation, and it's decided to way up high. And I think that they're not going to talk about the things that people don't like because they don't plan on changing it. Mm. And if you open the door, it just opens up a conversation that they can't control. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, but you don't go start conversations about something if you can't steer the conversation the direction that's going to be beneficial to both the studio and the player. And if they open up a big conversation about Eververse implementation, it's just going to open a can of worms that they really don't need to open right now.
It seems like it, honestly, though, and I don't know, it seems like they don't have, there's a lot of factors that play into Eververse, and maybe they don't have as much control as we would like to think they have. Ultimately, you'd hope they have all the control. But I agree, I still, in the way that they've been handling things as of late, and how well they've been doing, it would be nice to see some sort of acknowledgement of this conversation in the community. I don't think it sets well with the community if we never hear anything about it, because it did come to the surface pretty quick and with pretty specific opinions on it. But again, it's an emote. The other kicker we didn't mention is the other layer that I think it frustrates people is because this isn't a free to play game, and right. I mean, dude, how many times do we have to talk about Fortnite? But the stuff, I almost bought a skin in Fortnite. I'm like, dude, that is too much. I'm not spending $10 to $20. It's like $20, I think, on a skin. I really wanted it, but I'm like, I'm not spending $20. But the argument is I didn't pay anything to play the game. So a lot of people, if I'm not playing the game right now, but if I kept playing it, I would feel like, oh, hey, you know what? I want to give them a little bit of money.
Yeah, and I played it for a little while, and I bought a Battle Pass one season.
I did too.
And I bought I think I might have spent $20 in their store total over time. And I don't have any qualms about that because, it was a pretty cheap investment for the game, and I can still go back.
And how many hours free to play? Yeah. Now, something we do have to consider with Destiny 2. Yes, we paid however much you paid to get the game and for the DLCs, but we also don't pay a monthly fee to play the game. So that's a layer you got to think about too. I mean, it's not a $15 a month subscription game. It was never that model. So, I don't know, man. I get all the angles. I get the frustration with this specific thing. But man, there's a lot of good vibes going on right now. So I just, to get hung up on such a, I don't want to say it's a small thing. It's a continuing theme with Eververse.
Well,
but I will say though, I was going to say a minute ago, I like the Matrix, honestly.
I hate it.
I think you said, and you said that last week. You said you don't like it. I like it, dude. Like it doesn't bother me. I get one or two facets a week, And like right now I have a facet. I don't want anything that's in the matrix. I already have like 4 of the things. I don't want anything. So I'm just going to set on that facet till next week and see what's in there. I know there's still an RNG element to it, but I feel way more in control.
That's exactly how they want you to feel, because it's a different trap to get you to spend money.
But I'm not spending any money, so they're not controlling anything. You see what I'm saying? Like they don't. I see where they could get players, but as we've talked about before, that's not me. I stay in complete control.
But that's
of that
no
situation.
different than where you were 2 months ago. But you were never a player that was going to spend money the way that they want people to spend money.
So for me, it's a plus because they have narrowed the pool down for me. Like there's, what is it? 8 or 10 things in there.
Yeah.
And this week when the reset hit, I already had 3 or 4 of them. So like for me, I'm not spending any money. So now they've narrowed it down. Now with you saying that, I get where a player that does spend money, it didn't really do much for them. So, but for me, I like the Matrix. I'm fine with it. I've never, especially right now, I don't feel like Eververse is very intrusive. The Iron Banner thing is a whole nother tangent. I just want to say that
if I was Thanos and I could snap my fingers and eliminate something from the universe, it would be loot boxes.
Yeah, I could go with you on that.
Like, that would be the thing, not world hunger. It wouldn't be AIDS. It would be loot boxes.
Can we talk about Thanos for 1 second, though? We're already going long. Just real quick. I was laughing with a friend at work the other day because she plays Fortnite quite a bit with her husband. And I'm like, I love how Fortnite can put Thanos in the game. And he's like overpowered as all get out and completely game breaking. And it just, like it completely, I get it. Like it's awesome. Like it's really cool that he was in the game or is in the game. I'm not even sure if he is anymore, but it's totally just this random tangent inside of the game of this overpowered character that you can be. If you do that in Destiny, if you throw something like that overpowered, the community would just probably get in an uproar.
I don't want to think so, because it's like it was a mode, okay, that you could choose or not choose to play. And it's no different than like Mayhem.
Oh, it was a mode.
Yeah, it was a mode. Just like when they have like Splodes mode or
okay, all right.
Have different stuff.
I retract my entire statement then. I did not know it was a mode. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, you could choose to go into it or just go on playing the regular game.
The Fortnite community probably would have been in a little bit in an uproar if that was the only mode you could play.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so that makes complete sense. I didn't have all the information. So I completely retract.
But I really like how Fortnite, like, they continue to come up with fun modes, and like we would go in and like say on the modes when the Splodes modes would be up, like we'd just go in and play a fun game and just like spamming rockets, and it would be hilarious. And then you would be like, all right, let's go do another game now. Cause they're like a fun change of pace, and it just plays in the sandbox. And I think the Thanos like promotion thing was absolutely brilliant.
You know what I thought about is like I'm like, you know what they should do next? They're already thinking about many things they're going to do next. I'm like, how cool would it be if then they threw a superhero in the game? And then now you not only have Thanos running around, but you have a superhero. And before you know it, you see the two of them duking it out.
Iron Man would fit in like a glove since they have rocket packs now,
How awesome would that be?
Just make it Fortnite Avengers, okay?
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, we are running long, so let's do this. How about you tell me, how was your reset, AER0KNIGHT?
Oh, Cyborg, my reset, dude! You're not gonna believe what I did this week.
Tell me.
I can believe it. I ran the raid again, man.
Shut up.
Shout out to the Dirt Fam. You know who you are. Yes, I ran normal Leviathan.
Okay.
Yep. Trying to get me some power level increase. And I also needed, I was at the final stage, noob alert, of the Acreus quest. Yeah. I needed the seals. Got my two shell Acreus good to go for the Crucible.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So it was a lot of fun. They got me through quick. They're like raid pros at this point.
Yeah,
so,
normal's not bad either. You can.
Yeah, especially even being 350. I mean, I'm not very high power level because I'm spending all my time in the Crucible. But yeah, we went right through it. And I honestly, I haven't ran the raid since the Dirt Fan meetup, but I remembered I had some great explainers. They went through it real quick for me again. But I remembered way more than I thought I did with the encounters and stuff. We even did the challenge. We accidentally completed one of the challenges. It's funny because
Dogs challenge this week.
Yeah, that's what it was. And we accidentally completed that. And it's not like crazy easy, but it's pretty easy being
normal,
350
it's
and 360.
bad at all either.
Yeah. So it was a good time though. Every time I jump in anything like a raid, it just reminds me of how much I used to raid and that I need to make more time for it.
They're fun, man.
I really enjoy it.
It's fun.
It's
dude.
fun. Yeah, it's a good time. But yeah, I did that. Got my Vigilance Catalyst done. 250 kills in the Crucible.
Nice.
Knocked that out.
Got
Yeah,
that
dude.
full auto.
Yeah, dude, I got that full auto and it feels great. I didn't know if I was gonna like it for sure, but it feels really good. I might throw like a counterbalance mod on there or something, but honestly don't know if I need to. It feels pretty crispy. But yeah, I was just running that thing, and it was really nice that Iron Banner was this week because it really helped me get that quicker.
Yeah.
But I was just running that in the Crucible, and I'm like, I just want to get it done, but I really wanted to like switch to Graviton or Crimson because there's so many fun exotics to use right now. So it's like as soon as I got it, I'm like, okay, I want to use Graviton for a little bit after all that work. But it's nice to have that masterworked Vigilance just ready to go.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this before the show. We got six Guardians in Mars Patrol, and we got to level 5 of Escalation Protocol, which is really cool.
It's further than I made it.
Dude, it gets so chaotic, like super chaotic, and I'm way under leveled.
Dude, especially when they spawn like feels like 50 thrall. You know,
it's crazy. And there was only one time that the frame rate started to check a little bit. Like I was really surprised with everything that was going on.
It's really surprising how well the game runs in that public space, because in other parts of the game, like especially in chunks of the raid, like there might be less enemies, it feels like, but you'll have some really serious frame drops.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because of the different behind the scenes stuff that's going on in the raid versus just the public space sandbox. But yeah, it runs really well.
Yeah.
It's very well optimized.
Oh, it's just a lot of fun. It's just it's a fun activity. It's just, you can kind of chat and hang out, and then when it's boss time, everybody kind of gets serious.
Yeah.
Because it's again,
sweaty.
We're not very high power level. Yeah. And so yeah, that was a good time. We fit in some comp, and that's fun, man. There's so many things to do right now, and so much fun to be had in the game. I'm working on those little side quests that I'm sure many Guardians have completed. I'm trying to get through those. Did
you dip your toes in the Iron Banner this week?
Oh, I did, man. Everything, yeah, definitely. We warmed up in Iron Banner. And I was working on my Vigilance, like I said, and then we'd hop in comp for a little bbit. So yeah, Iron Banner was fun. We got Bannerfall a couple times, got some Dirt Fan Banner in, and yeah, dude, 6s feel good. Like I do enjoy 6s in that setting. It's a good time. And then comp was fun. It got sweaty on some games. I played a little bit more tonight, and it was we had a streak going. I'm in Brave rank now, and it's like, man, it's gonna take a good portion of the season unless you go on a crazy winning streak. I really want to grind for that Claymore. And but dude, just the loadouts, like I'm running Crimson and something, I'm running Graviton and a submachine gun, I'm running Vigilance and Last Hope, or Vigilance and a submachine gun, and it's just a lot of fun right now, dude. It's good. It's Graviton. Just when I think Vigilance is my go-to, or Crimson, then I get out Graviton, dude. I haven't had it out in like, I don't know, a night or something, and it is so awesome. Like, it is such a fun gun.
Good.
Dude. There's so many good options right now. The exotic tuning is just spot on. Like, it's put some excitement in the Crucible for sure. Anyways, what about you, man? What have you been doing?
Well, did some Iron Banner, had a lot of fun with that so far. It's been fun. You know,
It's fun, dude.
Sixes are a welcome change, and they're fun, and I enjoy control and run around with my tractor cannon still. Kind of developing a love and a play style around that gun.
I haven't used that much this week. That's like my next thing to do.
It's even more fun in sixes because there's a lot of people who mess up with it.
Well, dude, that's what I was going to mention. Like, I've had a page and a half to 2 pages of people playing Destiny when I've gotten on this week, and people are in Iron Banner. Like, it feels like old school Iron Banner week.
Yeah, people are back at it. And, you know, it doesn't hurt that the new guns and the ornaments are really nice. And, you know, there's something to grind for. I was looking when I loaded in on Tuesday, and, you know, you got to get up to like rank 30 to get all the stuff. Yeah. So it's going to take, you know, it's going to take more than a week to grind all this stuff out. But that's cool because I know like I'll be back playing like the next 1 or 2 Iron Banners as well to get everything that I want. But man, you know what I really miss is the post-game reward Iron Banner gear.
Yep.
I was talking about that. I'm like, man, remember when you could get like, you know, previous weapons and armor and just different stuff. Like I would like for them to bring that back, especially now after we've had 2 seasons of gear. Yeah. It would be really cool to get the previous season's gear just in the post-game rewards. Yeah. But I did, you know, in the packages, you can get some stuff. Like I got last season's ship from my first package, which was cool.
Yeah, you get all old weapons and other season stuff, which is cool. Like I think a poll we might talk about here in a minute. Somebody actually tweeted me and talked about those post game rewards. A couple different people, and I had forgotten all about that, dude. So it's funny to hear you mention that as well.
Well, it's so funny to think about Iron Banner post game rewards because they've been in so many different extremes. Like we had the long time in Destiny 1 where you just got nothing, right? And then they had a time where they just juiced it up and you would get a ton of stuff, right? I mean, it was just raining down. And then they tweaked it again and it was like somewhere in the middle for a little while. And then it was almost like they broke it again. Like, just all, I mean, every month it was something different. But I wish that they would do something like that again. It was fun.
Even if they gave us like the old weapons, like they're doing with the engrams, and they were just a higher power level. Yeah, you know?
Yeah, that's really what I'm looking for is
bridge the gap. Yeah.
Just some RNG drops for chances at the previous seasons, weapons and armor and different stuff like that would be cool.
Yeah, and I think power level is important too. Like the strikes have been a big topic because there's a gap. Strikes aren't like a tier to max power. It would be cool if Iron Banner was another layer of the power level grind. You know, they got to be careful because then they'll streamline it too much again and people will want it slowed down. But if you just give us a drop here or there that's like 3 to 5 higher lights, like that would even add more incentive to Iron Banner.
That would give you more incentive to be running those matches, just if you would have a chance at getting a little bit more powerful piece of gear. Like that would be nice. So yeah, I mean, there's some ways I think that they can iterate and improve, but it feels good. To have it be 6s again and 6s control, just classic Iron Banner mode. And, so I had a pretty good time playing that so far this week. I'm looking forward to playing some more. Last night we did a Prestige Leviathan raid, run and actually managed to break Callus's shield at the end. We actually, I don't know what try it was because our first try after 1 damage phase, I think somebody got launched by a Scion. We had to wipe and we like banged our head against the wall for like maybe 45 minutes and then finally got like 1 good run and we one phased him.
That's the way it
and
works.
Still had enough to break his shield at the end. I was shocked that we were able to pull it off, but we just did it just right. We were finally, and it was literally like, somebody was like, all right, guys, this is my last try. And then we just pulled it off. So, because it was getting late. So I was really happy we did that. And listen to this. My buddy Chuck got a double drop of the exotic ghost shell. He got 2 of them.
No way. I wonder if that's even happened yet.
I don't know if I've heard anybody of that happening. And like the drop chances make sense because we were running prestige and nobody had run normal, so you get a double drop on everything. But for 2 of those to come up.
Crazy.
I mean, he's probably blown his RNG
RNG
for the next 5 years. Like,
yeah, I know. He
and nobody, and I'm sitting here like nobody has ever got one in the party. We're all just like, you son of. Yeah.
That's when we need trading.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets some nightfall drops. Hopefully he doesn't have to run 100 nightfalls now.
I know.
To get something.
So, we did that, and that was a pretty good time. And, we got through a lot of the encounters pretty quick. We're all kind of getting a little more experienced in that prestige level of that run now, because we've been doing it, week after week. So like all the previous, encounters, most of them we got through really fast. So we're kind of finally getting to like, and it wasn't even like the same configuration that we run every week. Like we have different people that come in and out. So it was just, 6 guys that got together and we all just plowed through it really quick. So it's nice to be able to, for everybody to get, really more than competent in those activities, and you can get through them real quick and get a lot of powerful stuff. I've got a full set of prestige Leviathan gear masterworked.
Wow,
which is pretty
man.
awesome. And I'm at
That's
376 at my highest.
Nice.
So
wow,
grind's paying off.
Be ready to take on the new.
Yeah, getting ready for that Spire of Stars, which we still have not finished. I can't remember if I talked about this. Yeah, I talked about this last show. We didn't get a chance to get back together on Monday before reset to tackle it again. So I'm sure once again this weekend will be after Spire of Stars again, because we had a couple members that were under 370, and I think they'll be either there or close to there by this weekend. I think that'll help for that final encounter, and we'll tackle that. And hopefully when I come back next week, we'll have that under our belt. We'll see.
That's
so
nice,
that was
man.
most of my reset, man. No new exotic catalysts for me.
I haven't gotten any this week either, dude. I got those 3.
I just
Crimson,
have that one,
Vigilance,
man.
and Tractor Cannon the first reset, and that's been mine so far.
With my Tractor Cannon catalyst, just yeah,
doing the thing. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I ran the Nightfall too, but didn't get any loot to drop. So.
I haven't done that yet. I've got to do those. I've got to do Heroic Strikes. I've got to run my Hunter through the story.
Until Trials drops tomorrow, I think for the first time I've cleared out all my milestones.
Look at you.
I think I got the Iron Banner challenges, but normally I have the raid sitting there in the Nightfall.
You're almost grinding at it, man. Watch out.
I'm telling you.
Tell us about the Twitter polls that you mentioned that you ran this week.
Oh, yeah. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but just to mention to our listeners, just a couple topics, interesting topics we've got here.
Kind of tweeting, talking about this week.
Yeah. So did a poll on Iron Banner and whether Valor rank should be active in it or not. Valor rank is the, if you will, more casual rank for the quick play playlist.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, dude, but DMG responded. Someone asked, I think it was C. Stewie, maybe was the name of the user on Reddit, and asked if it would be active in Iron Banner. And DMG said no. It's only active in quick play, Rumble, doubles, and Mayhem, maybe.
Okay.
And I thought it was just a quick play playlist.
Yeah, I didn't even
realize
know the
it was in Rumble.
stuff played into that.
Yeah. So like I would have jumped in. I didn't jump in Rumble that one week. I probably would have, knowing that Valor was in there. And I think I just went right to competitive. So I don't know if I would have anyways. But it's cool to know that it's in there. So then I'm like, my initial thought was, Iron Banner is its own thing. We've got rank on Saladin now. Like, we don't really need it. And then I'm like, the more I thought about it, like, it really kind of makes sense for Valor to be active in Iron Banner too. Like, I get it's its own event and stuff, but a lot of people, some tweets that I got back were, some people don't even Crucible, if you will, until Iron Banner's up. Like, they spend their time in PvE, so it would be a neat layer, additional, we were talking about this earlier, additional layer of incentive for Iron Banner. Like, instead of having to choose the week Iron Banner's up, do I want to run ranked like I feel like I'm doing, or do I want to run Iron Banner? Just tie one of the ranks to Iron Banner like you do several of the other playlists. So anyways, the feedback was there was 256 votes. And let me just take a look here. What is I want to say like 83%
said Valor rank should be active in Iron Banner.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good percentage. Now, I actually, when I saw this, I voted no.
Mm-hmm.
But since thinking about it and talking with you now, I actually think the solution should be a little bit different. I think that Valor should just be totally tied to wins in all Crucible modes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it progresses no matter what you're playing, including trials.
Except for competitive?
Include everything. I think it should just be totally tied to just wins. You get a win, it goes up.
Your Valor rank goes up.
Because, like, I get that it's a thing where you can grind a separate playlist, but why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, if you, let's say you want to run competitive and that's what matters to you, why would you have to go into quick play and grind another rank? Like, shouldn't it just be a separate rank totally tied to wins so that, okay, if you don't want to play competitive, you don't have to go into the competitive ranked thing and you can play every other mode. And as long as you get a win, it goes up and it doesn't hurt you to get losses. It's something that it's participation award, but not quite, right? You still got to get wins. So that way, even for the player that only plays Iron Banner, or maybe for the player that only plays Trials, they can still progress with that rank, and it's almost like a Crucible rank that you rank up and you get certain rewards for. And then the competitive guys too, they don't have to necessarily go into Iron Banner if they don't want to or whatever. As they're grinding through the competitive, they too go higher in Valor. Like, it just makes sense in the sense of Valor is supposed to be, like, when they explained it initially, they were like, Valor is a thing that goes up as you just get wins. Essentially, and, like, that's the spirit of it.
It doesn't go. What makes it more casual
is that it doesn't go down.
Decrease.
Right?
You get less for losses and you get more for wins, but it's always increasing.
So shouldn't it just be universal? So it just increases by
I like that, man. I like that. I even like it. At first I was like, well, that'd be weird if it's 2 layers of rank on competitive, but I see what you're saying. Like, I'm going to spend a lot of time in competitive because I want the rewards that go along with competitive.
Right.
And if competitive is the most sweaty, most challenging version of the ranking system, then it kind of makes sense that I would also get credit for Valor rank, and Valor rank is your overall Crucible rank. I like that. I think that's cool.
Just thinking about the spirit of what, like, Valor and Glory, like, your Valor is supposed to be just tied to, like, your overall progress in winning, and then Glory is like you're going for glory and being like the top dog or being, at the top of the food chain competitively. So it just makes sense that both, like, if you're playing competitive, you would earn both Valor and Glory, right?
Yeah.
So
I like that.
I think that's what they need. In my opinion, I think that's what they need to do. And then it just counts across everything,
I really, the more I think about that, I like that, because even with with Trials, like you said, at first I'm like, Trials is its own thing. Again, the same thing I thought with Iron Banner, but tying one of the ranks, this particular rank, the more casual one, if you will, to everything, it's exactly what we always talk about.
You have
it adds
choice.
Incentive,
and you have choice
to everything. Right? Yeah, and you have player choice.
And the progression can be different. Like it could honestly, it could be slower to earn Valor than it is now, because then you're playing a wider variety of activities, and you can rank up in more than one thing. Whether it's Iron Banner rank, Trials rank, competitive, Glory rank. So it may take longer across the season to do it, but you get, you progress it no matter what you're doing. And so I think it would balance out.
No, I like that. That's a very good point. Well, what do you guys think? You guys listening, tweet at us at Destiny Reset. What do you think about what we just talked about? Cyborg's idea, or just the idea of Valor rank being an Iron Banner. And we also have another poll here. We won't spend a lot of time on this one, but this has been a topic for a while now. With Iron Banner having 6s reintroduced into Destiny 2, and people seem to really be enjoying it. A lot of people have said they would like to see 6s as a permanent setting on the quick play Valor playlist. Threw up a tweet with a poll and just asked if you want 6s or if now you're fine with 4s. And 90 votes, 77% of you guys said that you would like to see quick play permanently be 6s. So again, interesting feedback.
What do you think?
Cyborg, what do you think? What? You go.
Well, I like, just with what we have, I like it just being part of Iron Banner.
Mm-hmm.
I think for quick play, it's too hectic compared to what we see in 4s. Mm-hmm. Unless we just Crucible completely reverts back to 6s and 3s, I think that it's fine where it's at, personally. And I'm kind of like looking at some of the comments of what people were saying, and I think that there's some dissonance there in why people feel that way, because some of it is like, related to like lobbies and teaming and like different stuff. And I think a lot of that is more related to it being Iron Banner as a mode, and it's not related to 6s. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I like it tied to Iron Banner because I think it gives some uniqueness to Iron Banner. Iron Banner is 6s. Let's do this. I agree with you on that. I think it adds some value to Iron Banner. I will say, if I had to make a choice on this and it would be implemented tomorrow, I think quick play is the casual place to go play Crucible. If you solo it like I do several times throughout the week, it can get pretty sweaty as a solo Guardian. A lot of people play solo Crucible, so I don't know that would be remedied. But ultimately, I think I would like to see quick play as 6s. I would like it to see as that old school D1 experience, go in and play 6s. And if you want to play 4s and more competitive, if you will, you can still play competitive in 6s, but less chaotic.
I see where you're coming from with that, and that does make some sense.
But I do like what it's doing for Iron Banner, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have a point there. Like, it's Iron Banner's up at 6s. Let's jump in. Like, this is awesome.
And you can get more of your friends together. But I can also see, by the same token, if 6s were in quick play, then it would be easier to get more friends into quick play to play some matches here and there. And so I see where that could be fun. But I don't know. It kind of is what
weird
it is
dynamic,
anyways.
though, because
So
we'd have 6s, 4s.
The whole 4s thing it just kind of puts everything on its head in the first place. So
yeah, which we never thought would have changed. I was so surprised to see 6s in Iron Banner. But I love your idea on Valor rank, dude. We need to. I put up a YouTube video talking about this topic, and now I feel like we need to put up another one. And I think that idea is awesome, dude. That Valor rank should just be your general Crucible rank for all Crucible activities. And then if you want to go sweat and play competitive, then you can go jump in competitive playlist for glory.
Yeah.
I like it, man. Those are a couple of things we were talking about. Again, you guys tweet at us.
Yeah, let us know what you think about all these different ideas. I mean, this is just 2 Guardians, so we'd like to hear what you guys think about 6s, about Valor and Glory, about progression. Obviously, like we've talked about, a lot of these, almost everything we're talking about here is fairly new. And so I think Bungie has a lot of time and room to iterate and improve on this stuff. And so I think we can only see it get better over time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That this initial implementation of the ranking system I've mentioned before, I love it. I feel like we got way more layers than I was expecting. And just in its current state, like there's so much. I played the Crucible anyways, but now there's just so much more incentive and excitement in the Crucible, and then you couple that with the crazy awesome exotic tuning, and there's some fun to be had. Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, sounds like we had some great resets there. How about some Dirt Fam discourse?
Yeah, dude, let's do it. We got some.
I'll take this
this
first email if you don't mind.
Yes, it's a good one. I like it.
The Typhonus, aka Ty, sent an email. He said, "Hey Cyborg and Arrow, what would I say is my favorite feature of Warmind? I'm sure most people who have entered this giveaway have answered things like Escalation Protocol, the new raid layer, the return of the grind, and those are all very valid, worthy aspects to applaud in this DLC. Others would mention the increased vault space of the improvements to exotics, also worthy, but still not the best. The lore geeks would mention finding out who the stranger is, very worthy, and the raid secret folks are gaga over the ARG puzzle that led to a real-world prize. It's a freaking spear, man. For me, it was the return of a feature I'd love about Destiny since the first year that grew small and grew to be the best thing about Destiny. Then in Destiny 2, I was afraid Bungie had removed this aspect of the game for good. I was able to see mild glimpses of the return at the time of Osiris, but the actual execution of the resurrection of my favorite aspect was never to reach fruition. Then, this past week, I noticed it. Here and there, it was returning, growing in prominence in my vision every time I logged in. My favorite aspect of D2 is the return of my friends list. God, how I've missed it. Thanks for reading. The Typhonus just called me Ty, human striker titan master race. Well, he has a flair
awesome
for build-up there.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't read this before I read it, so I was like, what is it? What could it be?
I did the
And
same
it's
thing.
really funny because that's everything, all the past 2 weeks, everybody's been mentioning that the most. It's so nice to see a whole big friends list online.
Yeah, dude. We already talked about it on this episode. Like 2 pages of friends on every night.
Great email, Tuz. That's funny, man.
Yeah.
Props on that.
That was great. Next up, we got good old Bushman Bob, friend of the show. Says, hey guys, love your show and all you do for the community. You asked what activity we like in Warmind. Apart from just seeing more people on, the escalation protocol and chasing those catalysts are on equal footing. Although I would love to get past level 2 of the protocol without half the blueberries vaporizing into thin air. Love the need to grind again. Again, thanks for the effort every week, Bushman Bob.
Yeah, thanks for
Very
that email,
cool.
man.
Yes.
Yeah, those are definitely 2 fun things to grind and chase. This week is a problem though because for the Anna Bray quest with her special weapons, the Bray Tech weapons, one of them is get 10 escalation protocol waves complete, and so what people are doing are just like doing level 1 over and over again,
Oh,
like failing
yeah.
it and starting over. People are like, I'm just trying to get past level 1.
It's like, come
I'll
on,
get better.
just do it.
I'll get better next week. Coda Bear LS sent an email. He said, I'm really enjoying the faster playstyle and the grind of all the exotics, as well as the more challenging enemies. I like that we can't just hit max light in 3 days. I feel like they're no longer spoon feeding us everything. Finally a challenge and things to do. Peace out from Coda Bear LS. Absolutely, man. Yeah.
I agree.
Just a little slowing it down, a little more ladders to climb makes a big difference.
Next up, Luongo. Hey guys, been listening for a while and finally wanted to start chiming in. I think my favorite part of this expansion has been the exotic catalysts. Yes, they are cool. Yes, they make our exotic guns even better, but my favorite part has to be the fact that I haven't gotten one yet. Boy, do I miss the grinds. Just waiting for something to drop. It brings me back to the Crota days when I was just dying to get my Necrochasm.
Oh, man.
Thanks for all you do and keep putting out great content. Luongo out. Yeah, dude. It's I know we've been hearing reports in the Dirt Fam, like I was playing with some of the Dirt Fam this week and somebody got their first one. And I'm like, man, I got 3 the first week and I haven't gotten any this week. It really feels like it's that catch-22. It's like you want all the loot, but part of you doesn't want all the loot because it's what Destiny's all about. It's like that RNG / sometimes you can specifically go chase loot and sometimes you just gotta wait. You gotta wait until it drops, and it's just exciting. You know, it builds that excitement up.
Yeah, it is good to have things still there to try to collect. So,
Yep.
I'm okay with it.
Thanks for the email.
Absolutely,
Great stuff.
guys. Thanks for the discourse. If you want to send us some Dirt Fam discourse, send us an email, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com or SpeakPipe, speakpipe.com/destinyreset.
Do it.
Do it.
Guardians.
How about some patron shout-outs? We got any new patrons this week?
No new patrons this week, but that is okay. We thank all of you so much for supporting us, all of you patrons and PayPal supporters that we have right now. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. If you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/destinyreset, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of our show. Also, if you don't want to do that on a monthly basis, you can just buy us a cup of coffee or something. You can send us a dollar or whatever you like via PayPal. There's a link on our website where you can do that. We have plenty of people that take advantage of that as well. If you become a patron, you get some unique benefits, such as a shout out on the podcast. You get your gamer tag posted on our website. And finally, you get an invitation to a Discord channel just for our patrons and supporters, where you get to pick our brains and ask us anything you like about the show, talk about what we talked about on the show, or even offer suggestions for what you'd like to hear about.
That's it.
That's it.
You just nailed it.
I did it. I just squinched it in there. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at AER0KNIGHT with a 0. What about you, man?
You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter and Mixer. And then finally, you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter. And finally, on the web at www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to our Discord and links to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Be sure to subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Gets us help seen and heard by more listeners like you.
Do it, Guardians.
Do it.
Do it. Leave those stars.
That's right. Drop those stars. All right, man. I think my voice is about tapped out.
You sound like you
just gets deeper and deeper.
Going for a little while.
Yep.
Might be getting a little tired.
I think I'm
We're
going
pushing
on
2
5
a.m.
hours of content creation today. So
I think that's enough, buddy.
Yep.
Let's wrap this thing up. All right, guys. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny 2 and take care, Guardians.